You're 37 years old. You're not old, you're not sick, you don't have any real reason to feel this way. But last Tuesday, you cried in traffic. Not because of anything specific. The song wasn't sad. The day wasn't bad. You just cried. And then you got angry at yourself for crying. The next morning, you woke up at 3 a.m., heart pounding, cold sweat on your back. You lay there in the dark, waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened. You just stayed awake until the sun came up. The following week, you went to the doctor. He ran blood work. Everything came back normal. He said it was probably stress, maybe anxiety, maybe you needed a vacation. You left his office with a prescription for an antidepressant you didn't ask for, and the feeling that no one had listened to you. You threw the prescription away. You're not depressed. You know the difference. Something is wrong with your body, and nobody is telling you what. This is the part nobody warns you about. The beginning doesn't feel like a hormone problem. It feels like you're losing your mind. You start tracking everything. You write it down in your phone. When you sleep badly, when you get irritated for no reason, when your heart races out of nowhere, when your head feels wrapped in fog at 10 in the morning, even after coffee. The list grows. A flash of heat that passes in 90 seconds, more hair in the drain than before, dry skin where it was never dry. Your desire just gone. You don't miss it. That scares you too. You start searching online. The internet tells you it could be your thyroid, could be anemia, could be panic disorder, could be lupus. You close the laptop, open it again, close it. Your husband asks if you're okay. You say yes. You should say no, but you don't know how to explain that you're not sick enough for the emergency room and not well enough to stop worrying. That middle space doesn't have a name you know yet. A friend tells you she's been feeling the same way. The two of you sit across from each other at a coffee shop, not knowing what to do with that information. You should feel relieved that you're not alone. You don't. It's been a year. You know the patterns now. You know that the week before your cycle, you'll lose 2 days of productivity. You know the heat comes between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. You know Sunday nights are the hardest for sleep. You've rearranged your entire life around it without realizing it. You scheduled important meetings away from the bad weeks. You stopped planning dinners on Fridays because you don't know how you'll feel on Friday. You bought a small portable fan that lives in your purse. Yesterday, you walked into a meeting with your face flushed, drank iced water under the table, waited for it to pass, delivered the presentation like nothing was happening. They applauded. You went to the bathroom afterward and stood with your forehead against the cold wall for 2 minutes. You're losing things. Not big things, small ones. The word that was right there and then wasn't, the name of the street you lived on for 6 years, the simple calculation you redid 3 times at the grocery store. You're 38. You shouldn't be forgetting these things. But you are. There's a photo of you from 2 years ago on your phone. You stop on it sometimes. Not because you were younger, because you looked present. There's something in your eyes that isn't there anymore. Not sadness, just absence. You try to remember what it felt like to wake up without checking first how your body is doing. You can't. Your cycle changed. It came early, then it was 3 weeks late, then it came twice in a month. For 6 months, you had no idea when it would show up. You started keeping pads in your purse, your car, your desk drawer, the small bag inside the big bag. Living in constant alert mode wears you down in a way that doesn't show up on any test. Your daughter asked why you yell sometimes. You said you were stressed. She accepted that. You went to your room and sat on the edge of the bed for 20 minutes, thinking about how you'd explain to an 8-year-old that her mother is living inside a body that changed the rules without warning. You go to the doctor again, a gynecologist this time. She runs hormone panels. The results come back and she says they're within normal range. You ask, normal range for whom? Office with the same feeling as before, that you know something is wrong and the system wasn't built to find you yet. You stop waiting for it to be over, not as defeat, as adaptation. You find an online forum, 47,000 women, all of them describing exactly what you feel with words you've never heard in a doctor's office. You read for 2 hours. You cry. Not from sadness, from recognition. A 41-year-old woman wrote, "I spent 2 years thinking I had early onset Alzheimer's. It was estrogen." You start to understand what's happening. It's not that you're losing your mind. It's that a hormone that was quietly regulating almost everything in your body, sleep, memory, mood, temperature, desire, skin, hair, heart, started fluctuating. It spikes, it drops, it spikes again, without warning, without logic. That sentence stays with you. The body you had known for 39 years came with a manual. That manual was replaced. This is not your fault. It never was. Your marriage went through something this year. Not infidelity, not a big fight. Something worse. A distance that grew without either of you being able to name it. Some nights you don't want to be touched. Not because you don't love him, because your body is so busy surviving itself that any additional demand feels like too much. Your husband doesn't understand. You can't explain it without sounding like you're rejecting him. He stops trying. You sleep on the same side of the bed with a space between you that wasn't there before. At work, you delivered the best project of your career this year. Nobody knows you wrote the final presentation at 4 in the morning because you couldn't sleep anyway. That you went to the bathroom before entering the room to take 3 slow breaths and make sure the heat had passed. That when they applauded, you thought, if you only knew what this cost. Your mother called and said she went through the same thing, using the same words you used. You asked why she never said anything. She said, "We didn't talk about these things." You look at your 9-year-old daughter and you think, she's going to know. I'm going to tell her before she has to figure it out alone. Something shifts. You're 42 years old. The worst of the heat has passed, not gone. Quieter. Sleep came back, not the same as before, but functional.
Your memory still catches you off guard, but you've learned not to panic when the word disappears. It comes back. It always comes back. You look at the list you used to keep on your phone 4 years ago. There are still symptoms. Fewer, more predictable. You've learned the difference between what needs medical attention and what just needs time and water and one better night.
You've also learned that the medical system was not built for this stage of your life, not out of cruelty, out of historical ignorance. Most hormone research was done on men. The normal range on your blood work was calibrated with data that doesn't include what you've been living. You found a doctor who knows this. It took 4 tries. Every single one was worth it.
Your marriage survived. Better than that, it survived honestly. You had the hard conversation. He listened. He didn't understand everything. He understood enough.
Your daughter is 10 now. Last month, she came to ask you about her own body, about what was going to change. You sat with her for an hour. You told her everything. She listened with wide eyes. You should have felt sad about that. You didn't. You felt like something had closed. There wasn't one specific day. It wasn't a morning when you woke up and everything made sense. It wasn't one appointment that changed everything. It was slow. The way everything real is. Somewhere between year 3 and year 5, you stopped trying to go back to who you were before. Not because you gave up, because you realized that person isn't waiting for you to return.
The body you had at 35 is gone. What's here now is different. Harder on some days. More honest on most. You know things now that you didn't before. You know when you're approaching your limit. You know how to ask for help before you break. You know that crying in traffic doesn't mean you're losing your mind. It means you're human, and your nervous system is processing more than it was ever asked to process.
Last month, a friend called you crying, said she'd been feeling strange, couldn't sleep, went to the doctor and came home with a prescription for an antidepressant she didn't ask for. You said, "I know. Tell me what's happening." You stayed on the phone for 2 hours. She said, "Why does nobody talk about this?" You didn't answer right away, because the answer is long, because the answer runs through decades of medicine that treated the female body as a variation of the male body, through waiting rooms that don't have time, through a culture that teaches women to endure and smile. But you gave her one simple thing. We're talking about it now. Your body went through a war that nobody announced, without a manual, without training, without allies at the start. You're still here. Not in spite of what happened, because of what you did with what happened. 5 years inside a body that changed the rules.